That was a awesome presentation. So I'm going to talk about Sitecore continuous integration using Gulp, and that other logo is Porsche, Sitecore Porsche extension. If you have not seen it. So I think I know what is continuous integration. I think everyone here knows continuous integration, what is continuous integration. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought that, I know what is continuous integration. I do that every day. I write programs, I check in code, build kicks off, it gets deployed in the QA. That must be continuous integration. But I didn't know how to articulate that. So in that kind of situation, what usually I do, I actually Google it and try to find out if someone else already defined it. So I did the same thing, and yes, someone already had a definition of it, and that is Martin Fowler. If you know about Martin Fowler is one of the best, architect. He has a lot of books, and he defined a lot of patterns. So this is the definition of continuous integration. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Basically, you write program and many times in a day you check things, and then you build it and you test it, that kind of thing. So most important part here is actually automated build including test. So continuous integration is like you write some code, your code will be compiled and built, and if the code has unit test code in it, it will be actually tested automatically, and everything will be done in an automated process. So the reason I am talking about continuous integration is that the problem that I'm trying to solve here is actually a continuous integration. And if you know Sitecore application is a little different. It is most of the application. It is a web application. You actually deploy the files, your code. Okay, but in case of Sitecore, you not only deploy files, you also deploy the Sitecore items. Okay, so it's something that I came across when I started working with Sitecore, and it's really important how you deal with that, because if there are a bunch of developers working in a Sitecore application, it can get very messy if you do not actually do it properly. So that's what we do in the Sitecore application day after day. So that's what continuous integration is. So I'll talk about Gulp a bit and social Gulp code. So let's start with that. So what Gulp is, actually Gulp is a kind of a script you use to run tasks. Okay, and typically it is something like you use to do file-based tasks. Okay, and it is very popular now. So using Gulp, you can do you can deploy your file, or you can change your file and send it to somewhere. That kind of task you do using Gulp. It is based on Node.js, if you know Node.js, and especially it is based on Node.js streaming. Okay, so to use Gulp, you need to install actually Node.js, and then you need to install Gulp in your machine. I have already Node.js in my machine, and I installed Gulp, but I will start with installing gulp in the dev environment. So okay, so to install gulp, first thing you do is node installer npm. So you do npm install. Actually, first thing you do is actually you install gulp globally. Okay, but I already installed that. Then you do installation in the dev instance. So you say dev save dev gulp. So it will start installing gulp in the machine. And while it is installing that, you can see once it installs, it will actually, you will see there is a folder show up here on the left that called node modules, which is actually all gulp modules here.
So when you say your dev environment is basically your some file system workspace location.
Exactly. So in your project solution folder. So while it is installing, I'm going to demo it here, but I had to do that in my Visual Studio solution, which is where I actually used gulp for the deployment. So that part is in the demo later. Okay, so you can see that gulp is there, and you can now see that this node module folder shows up here. Okay. Now, once gulp is installed, basically gulp is JavaScript. Okay, no programming is all JavaScript. So no program actually. So I'll write a program here to show you how you write the gulp program. Shouldn't take too much time. So first of all, you define a variable. So require means like import or using in the and then you create a gulp task. Okay, so as I said, gulp is actually task runner. So you start with the task, and if you name the task as default, you can just run the task without giving the name. So I just name it with default, so I can start it. So function is just all JavaScript, and then you say console.log. Okay, so that is the simplest program I can run. I can show you in gulp. So what it does is actually it will show the hello world in the when I run it. And basically, I need to go to my directory here. Where is my and if I now say, I hope golf. If I run just golf, it should run that golf.js, golf file.js, that script, and it shows that hello world. But what is the use of that? Okay. So,
Does this work? For example, file should be called golf file.
yes. So the golf script file name has to be called golffile.js. So that is the simplest program, but I can show you a little more. So there are a lot of golf plugins out there. So if you go to the golf, if you go to the golf.js, you can go here in the plugin, and you can see that there are more than 2,000 plugins available. Okay, and one of those plugins is called Uglify. Yeah,
Wow.
Uglify is used for actually minify the JavaScript. Okay, so what you can do is, so this is very rich actually, the whole Gulf.js, the environment and the community. There are a lot of plugins available, so you don't have to write much. Everything you can get from here. The ecosystem is very, very rich. Okay, so I can actually show you. So if I go here, I can install this Gulf Uglify in my machine. So basically, npm let's save. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
It's always that good as you, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Can you make that text bigger?
Yes, I will. So it will get that plugin. Once it gets that plugin, you can go here and you can see that plugin is going to be installed in the node module. Okay. Now I'm not going to type anything. I have a program I wrote already. I can find it.
Did you enter our model?
Yeah, it already installed in node modules, but I am looking for the program that I want to show you. So I'm here. So this program is very actually small program. The way calc works is actually, as I was telling you, like stream. Okay, so it reads a file, it creates a stream, and it passes the stream to the next thing. Okay, so if you know the concept of pipe, like in DOS, okay, pipe is very old concept, like you fire a command and the next command is actually input of that command and you do something with that. Okay, so the same concept here. So if you see this first line, what it is doing is actually going to the JS folder and finding out all the JS file. Okay, and there is a JS folder here, which I have a JS file, big JS file. So this is actually the JS file. Usually what we do, we minify them, right? And then it reads the JS file, it gets everything, and it creates the stream and passes that stream to the pipe, and that's where I run the Uglify. And Uglify minifies the JavaScript file, okay? And after minifying it, you need to save it, okay? Because if you just minify it, it will be just in the memory, okay? So it reads from the source, it uglifies it or minifies it, and it actually uses call.destination function to minify and put it in a folder called minify. Okay, so that 3 lines of code can do that. And if I run it,
So does it load all the JavaScript files first in memory, or is it straight away streaming from the file system together?
it does load everything from the memory. Okay, but I cannot tell you if it actually use a better approach of create it in chunk and do this stuff. But I think it does load
So
everything.
depending on what you're doing, it can be memory intensive.
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Generally, Gulp is supposed to run it either at build time or either at dev side. Gulp is not supposed to run at deployed CD side or all those sides because it's a CI tool, it's a dev tool moreover.
Yeah, it's not something like you will use for your customer facing application.
Yes.
It's always used for some kind of batch process.
Habitat uses it.
Yeah, Habitat has it. So, sorry. Let's run that. Okay, as you can see, it took 11 milliseconds to actually run that, and you can see this folder shows up here, and this file is like one line. It removed all the space and everything, and that's the way it does. So the reason to show this example is that the module I created is actually using Gulp to do all this stuff. Okay, it uses multiple plugins to actually do the deployment and everything. So that's the Gulp demo. Okay, next I actually need to show you
FP.
Sitecore PowerShell remoting demo. So last time I talked about PowerShell, but if you remember the PowerShell I ran in the Sitecore website itself. Okay, but in this case, when I'm doing the deployment, I am running the PowerShell script from my Visual Studio, which is not in Sitecore. Okay, so running a Sitecore script from outside of Sitecore, you need to use Sitecore PowerShell remoting. Okay, so I have just a very simple Sitecore PowerShell remoting script, which I will show you quickly here. So this is the PowerShell script I'm going to run. But I need to open PowerShell. So this is PowerShell scripting editor. And this is the script. I'm not going to show too much detail of it because there are a lot of things I have to do to run it, which is there in my blog. But basically what this script is doing is actually, if you see the second line, it is using the URL to connect to the site, and then it is going to the path master and get all the children from that path and showing that in the console. But the difference here is that it is running from outside of Sitecore. Okay, so that's why I have to actually call this invoke remote script to run it in the Sitecore. And to your question, I think you are asking that if there is any sort of policy or permission that I need. Yes. So you have to actually set the execution policy to bypass, the scope of that process. So you are running a PowerShell script in another PowerShell from outside. So you need certain permission to do that. automatically you have to bypass that policy. That's why I had to add that first line. Okay.
There's a password on the computer.
Password, yes, that's just for you.
So the connection URI is nothing but the site course.
URL.
Connection URI is just Sitecore. Okay, that is actually a site I am using now for today. Okay, so if I run this, I actually warm up. So this is the box that shows up because I need to bypass the permission. And it takes a little bit longer than usual script because it has to actually connect to the Sitecore side and run the script there. So, but I think I made my point about how to running the remote script from outside. So when the execution is done, you can come back and see the result, and we can move on with the presentation. Okay, so that was the routing demo. All right, so what I'm trying to do here to understand that we need to understand every day what we do. Okay, and that's why I want to bring up TDS, team development, for Sitecore. Anyone here haven't used TDS?
All of us
Yes, I don't think any Sitecore developer, they cannot
think
about doing the development without TDS. Okay, so what I have created is actually do the same thing that TDS does. Okay, but it will be easier for me to explain that if I show you what we do in TDS. Okay, so that's the story of TDS. I want to tell you. So what we do. TDS, it deploys files to the website. Okay, we create our program and everything, and then basically we deploy. It publishes the file, right? That is one thing we do. It does, and it deploys Sitecore items to the website. Come on, that's the only animation I got. You have to use your imagination to actually say, yeah, that's the Sitecore item also. So, come on. Okay. So, actually, TDS can do a lot of other things. There is one thing that TDS does very well. Actually, it is integrated with Visual Studio, and you can sync and you can see what you have in your Sitecore or what you don't have in your project, and all kind of difference it can show. But to be honest, 90% of time, this is what we do. We actually add a Sitecore item or something, and basically we deploy the file, we deploy the Sitecore items. Okay. So how we do that? That's the life of a Sitecore developer. Day and night we do the same thing. Okay, we can do it in sleep, when you are sleeping also. So I will just say developer 1. Okay, developer 1 creates a Sitecore item in the local Sitecore instance. Okay. Developer 1 serializes the item in the VS project. Once it creates either it uses Sitecore log or Sitecore content editor, it creates there or modifies something, and it serializes that item in their project. Okay. Developer checks in the item in the source control. Once the item is in Visual Studio and everything is fine, item is a file. They will check that file in the source control. Now, developer 2 comes and it checks out the Sitecore item from the AS project. They go to the project and they get they check out the latest and they get that item in their project, right? And then they deploy that item in their local instance. They deserialize that item from their project to their local instance. Okay? That goes on. That's all. That I can tell you. That's all we do. That's pretty much we do as I told you every day. Okay? That's true. Okay. Now, this is, as I said, this is what we do most of the time in Sitecore development. Okay, I can, there is a lot of other benefits of TDS. I cannot compare what I created with TDS. There is a lot of other benefits. But this problem that I tried to solve using Gulp and PowerShell script. Okay. So for that, I had to actually create an application. Okay, it's not a full-fledged application that you can use. It's not a nice website or anything. It's just an application which has files and Sitecore items that I can use to demo it. So my application name is Cobbler and the Helps. Okay, this is the screenshot of the project, the solution, and what I try to do in the solution is I actually try to include all kind of projects. Okay, so I have a project which is my web project. Okay, then I have some DLLs, repository and services, the way we design our project, and then I have another website which is a second website for my API to demonstrate that using this process I can not only deploy my one website code or publish one website code, I can do that in more, my whole solution, including Sitecore. So then I had a structure of Sitecore. There you all are familiar with it, this kind of structure we create for the Sitecore application. There are items here like news items and logos and stuff. And there are templates, like different kinds of templates for my items here. Okay. So, as I said, this is not a website or anything. This is just a structure I had to create to prove that this works. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to try now is actually, as I was showing you that flow, that what developer 1 do and what developer 2 actually you do. So I will demonstrate that using my local environment. Okay. So that will be local environment demo. And this is my local site. In the content editor, as I said, that states, I will create a new item and I'll serialize that item in my project, and then I will act as developer 2 also. I will deploy that item in my, Okay. So here is my folder, site data, news. So I'll go here, insert a new item. News file. So I have now news file. Okay, now this is the developer one created the item. Now developer one has to serialize that item. So one thing I need to do first is add that item in my serialization, like Sitecore item path text. This file will tell my process that what items are there that I want to serialize or deserialize. Okay. In TDS also, we do not get everything in our project, right? Content, we usually will not get the content. The content editor is going to create the content. We get only the items that we need as a programmer to work on. Okay. So this file defines that, and copy this.
Is there an automatic way of generating this file?
Yes. Yes. Actually, I automatically using a PowerShell. Using a PowerShell, I get all those items from the and I copied that here.
There's a space.
There is.
There should be a space between news and file.
Is it?
That's how you create it.
Let me see. You are probably right. I want to rename it.
Is there a way to give start so that it takes everything from the root?
Not now.
It's a beta version.
That's actually, this is all available in the GitHub. Okay. Community can actually
Extend.
extend it. That will be my answer. Okay, so I added that here. I think I said it. Now, next comes the goal. How am I doing?
Being right on time, you gotta speed up.
Yes.
Like 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. That's not going to happen. So basically, now I need to run some script here, okay, to serialize that, okay. And if you know, there is something called task runner in the Visual Studio, okay, which you can use to run the Gulp script, okay. So I have task runner already installed here, and these are all my Gulp script. It is no different than the demo I was doing for Gulp. One thing you can see here is that there is a Gulp plugin available for MS Build. Okay, so this plugin is used to build the project, and then it publishes that. So similar to that, there is a script here which does the serialization. So if I run the task runner,
And to serialize, basically to use SP remoting.
yes.
That's why you use it.
So there is a serialization. This script is actually used for serialization, and then this script is called from Gulp. There are a lot of stuff. I cannot just explain everything, but it's all written in the blog. So here is the task runner, and here is my script to serialize that item. So when I run it gives me that warning because I installed a recent version of Gulp in the previous demo. So let's see what happened with my. Okay, this is the remote script that I ran in Sitecore, which came up with the list of items here, as you can see. So it takes a little bit of time.
Basically,
Okay.
it will go each line by line, query that item, serialize it, get it to your Visual Studio, store
Yes.
it, and then.
Right, it is not getting it in the Visual Studio,
So you're not
but
storing
it's
it.
actually, it's getting it in the file system.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's Sitecore serialization.
Yep.
Okay, so it ran the script and it serialized everything, and you can see that news 5 also
Yeah.
serialized. Okay, once it's serialized, I can go to my Team Explorer. This everything is actually source control in GitHub. So this is this should show up here, and I can check in. There is one contract file, this news item 5. I can add it. And commit. And sync. So now it is in GitHub. Okay? So this is what developer one does. They will create or modify an item, and then they will get it in the local folder or serialize it. Now developer 2 comes, okay?
The reverse.
They will deserialize it, right? So for that, basically, the problem is that here I have one Sitecore instance. Okay, so news 5 is already there. Okay, so if I could play a second instance or second
Go and
developer,
delete it.
so it would have been shown there. Okay, so what next step the developer 2 will do is actually developer 2 will go there and check out that file from GitHub, right? And as soon as the developer 2 checks out that file, it will show up in his file system. The news 5 will show up in the file system, and then developer 2 will work whatever he is working on, and they can go to this deploy all local. This is actually the script, which is the combination of all the script to deploy everything in the files and Sitecore items and everything in the Sitecore instance. So they will go here and run that. So this actually compiles all the projects, it gets all the files and everything, it publishes those, and then it runs that deserialization remoting script and get that news 5 item to Sitecore. Okay. So that is the local environment demo. While it is running, let's move on to the next. So this demo is taking too long. Okay. Now this is the next step is to actually how we can integrate with our build system, like integrate with TeamCity, so that this whole thing happens automatically. Okay, I will create the item, I will work on my files and program, then I will check in everything in the in the source control, and when my build runs, the build will pick up those items and
Deploy it in
then
your target
deploy it
server.
in the QA
So I
server.
have one question, Himandit. So like we have used basically SPE or SPE remoting to do the heavy lifting of serializing and deserializing back to Sitecore. Unicorn also do the same stuff without exposing the SPE remoting on the your prod or non-prod servers if you are doing it in real world, real scenarios.
Right.
So I'm pretty much sure the same thing you've done can be combined with gulp again and can do the same job, right? Theoretically,
Combine
with
using
unicorn.
unicorn you mean?
Yeah, unicorn or that others alternative of
So they're
civilization.
saying instead of
Yeah.
SPE, can we use something else?
Yeah, because you don't want to install SPE and open up remoting on your prods or non-prods because it is a gateway for anyone to do anything.
Yeah, I know what you are saying, but unicorn is actually a standalone like framework just he created for taking care of this serialization and deserialization stuff. Okay.
It do provide its API.
It does provide API. I haven't checked that. Okay, so yes, it is possible to actually hook it into unicorn. I think if you see Habitat, okay,
Yes.
Habitat actually uses unicorn.
That's why I said it.
Okay, but Habitat actually didn't use the API or anything. You have to go to the unicorn console to actually
Yes.
sync
Sitecore
and
instance.
Yes, Sitecore
Yes.
instance. That's
So-
why I said that your gulp can bridge that gap.
I think so, but I think even better way will be actually to come up with a plugin,
Yeah.
plugin, which will do the all sorts of serialization, deserialization.
Yeah, manual task.
Yes. So the last step, I am not going to do the demo, but I want to show you. So this is my cobbler build script, okay, and I have, as you can see, I successfully built it a couple of times, so you have to take my word. It works. Okay.
No, we will take it.
Okay.
Is that a picture?
But I would like to show you the build step, okay, especially the one that is needed for gulp. Okay, so it's not difficult to include the gulp in Velocity. Okay, there are only two steps. You have to create a custom command. Okay, and basically there are two steps. One is you have to make sure that you have latest NPM installed. Like the first command, what it does is actually it gets the latest, all the plugins and everything. Okay, and then you run your gulp script. Okay, I have to create a two separate set of scripts. One for QA and one for the local environment because the path and everything are different. Okay, so after it's building the projects and everything, it calls this custom script and it deploys the files and Sitecore items in the keyword. In my case, this keyword. So it is integrated with. It is possible to integrate it with the instance. Let's see. So you can see that this actually deserialized cobbler items local. It ran 1.63 minutes and it deploys it. That's pretty much it. And one more file is important here is that gulp-config, which defines all the path and everything. And you can use gulp-config to actually get all this data in your gulp script. That's pretty much it. I didn't have enough time, obviously, to show you this demo. So these are the link to the blogs, and the one in the bottom is actually the source code. So feel free to go there and look at the code if you want to change anything. Let me know. I can give you access to that, and I would like to see people are using. So